students, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video we are going to study part 2 of the first chapter of Civics class 10 ICSE, the Union Parliament or the Union Legislature. And the topics which we are going to study are the Speaker, his or her re-election and removal, powers and function of the Speaker. So let's get into the video. The Speaker. After the general elections are over and the Lok Sabha is duly constituted with a notification by the Election Commission, the first task for the Lok Sabha to do is to elect its chairman and vice chairman, popularly known as the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, respectively. The Deputy Speaker acts as the Speaker when the latter is not present. So, after the general elections of the Lok Sabha is done and the members of the Lok Sabha are elected, two of the members of the Lok Sabha are elected as chairman and the vice chairman, who are known as the Speaker and Deputy Speaker respectively. When Speaker is not present in the House, Deputy Speaker performs all the functions of the Speaker in the House. As to govern a class, a monitor is elected in the same way in Lok Sabha to govern the Lok Sabha proceedings. A chairman is elected known as the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. And when a monitor is not present in the class, assistant monitor do his work. In the same way, when the Speaker is not present, the Deputy Speaker, that is the Vice Chairman, do all of his work. His or her election. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha is elected soon after the newly elected Lok Sabha meets for the first time. Till a new Speaker is elected, the Speaker of the preceding Lok Sabha presides over its session. The Indian Constitution provides that when the House is dissolved, the Speaker shall not vacate his office. He remains in office till the new Speaker is elected by the new Lok Sabha in its first meeting. The Speaker as well as the Deputy Speaker are elected by the Lok Sabha from among its members. Normally, the Speaker is elected for 5 years. He can seek re-election for any numbers of time if he is elected as a member of the Lok Sabha. So, how the Speaker is elected? Speaker of the House is elected as soon as the new members are elected to the House. When the newly elected Lok Sabha meets for the first time, that moment itself a Speaker of the House is elected. The preceding Lok Sabha Speaker, that means one who was the Speaker of the Lok Sabha before the newly formed Lok Sabha, remains in his office till the new Lok Sabha Speaker is elected. The Indian Constitution also says that when the House is dissolved, that is when the Lok Sabha is dissolved, if the no confidence motion is passed, all the members of the House has to resign, but the Speaker does not vacate his office. He remains in his office. He does not lose his post. He remains in the office till new Speaker is elected by new Lok Sabha in its first meeting. The Speaker as well as the Deputy Speaker are elected by among its own member, and they are elected for a tenure of 5 years. Normally, a question comes that how the Speaker of the Lok Sabha is elected and what is the tenure of the Lok Sabha Speaker. So, your answer must be Speaker of the Lok Sabha is elected from among its member, and it is usually elected from the ruling party. He holds his office for 5 years. Now coming to his removal. The Speaker can resign his post on health ground or another grounds by submitting a letter of resignation to the Deputy Speaker. He can also be removed by the Lok Sabha if majority of the members pass a resolution to this effect. But before moving such a resolution, the Constitution provides for 14 days prior notice. During this period, the Deputy Speaker shall preside over the meetings of the House. So, the Speaker of the House can be removed in further ways. He can be removed by his own willingness by writing a resignation letter to the Deputy Speaker, or he can also be removed on his health ground if he is not fit or he is suffering from any of the major diseases. Or he can also be removed by the members of the Lok Sabha if the majority of the votes are against him. Such a resolution has to be passed with a 14 days before notice, and when a 14 days notice during the 14 days duration time, the Deputy Speaker act as the Speaker of the House. Powers and functions of the Speaker. Various powers and functions of the Speaker can be categorized as proceedings of the House. He or she presides over the meeting of the House. He allots time for discussion. All speeches and remarks are addressed to the Speaker. So the Speaker is the one who presides the meeting of the House. He allots time for discussion. It means that he gives a particular time to a particular member to speak his words. All speeches, remarks and suggestions are addressed to the Speaker. The Speaker has the final say regarding all the rules and procedure of the House. It means that if a member of the House do breach of contempt or does not behave properly, the Speaker has the final say whether he will be in the House for the further meeting or he will not be. All bills passed by the House are signed by the Speaker before they are sent to the upper house or to the President for assent. So all the bills which are originated from the Lok Sabha or which comes to the Lok Sabha from the Rajya Sabha has to be signed by the Speaker. Only then it can be passed to the President or the Rajya Sabha for the approval. Without the Speaker sign, the bill has no validity. The Speaker decides the admissibility of all resolutions, bills, questions and motions. He can adjourn the meetings of the Lok Sabha. So the Speaker is the one who decides all the bills, motion, resolution which are to be passed in the Lok Sabha. If he says no, none of this will be passed in the Lok Sabha. He can also adjourn the meeting of the Lok Sabha. It means he can also stop the meeting of the Lok Sabha. He admits important motion, that is no confidence motion, adjournment motion or other motion. There are different kinds of motion and the Speaker has the power to address or give permission to all of this motion to be passed in the House. No confidence motion is a motion where the whole ministry has to resign from the Lok Sabha if majority of the votes are against the ruling party. Adjournment motion means that whenever a urgent motion or urgent issue has to be discussed in the House, the normal proceeding of the House is not done, but that important and urgent interest is discussed in beginning of the day. He calls for votes on all bills, resolutions and motion. He announces the result. The Speaker himself or herself votes only in case of a tie. So whenever a bill, resolution or motion is passed, a Speaker asks for the vote on that particular motion, resolution or bill. He announces the result. He votes only in one case, that is in the case of tie, and this is known as casting vote. This also comes in examination as what do you mean by casting vote? There you have to write that Speaker himself or herself vote only in case of tie, and this is known as casting vote. The Speaker decides whether a particular bill is a money bill or not. He can adjourn the House if it lacks quorum. It means that the Speaker can stop the meeting of the House if it does not have minimum numbers of members present in the House. Quorum means 1/10 of the total members should be present in either of the House, that is the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, before the meeting of the House can begin. Administrative powers. The Speaker receives all documents, letters, and petitions in the House. He communicates the decision of the House to concerned person or authorities. He controls and regulates the admission of visitors and press correspondence or the media to the gallery of the House. So the Speaker is one who receives all the documents, letters and petitions which comes in the House. He communicates the decision of the members of his House to concerned person or authority. He controls and regulates the admission of all the media who comes to the House and records the proceedings and meetings of the House. Disciplinary powers. The Speaker maintains order and decorum in the House. He can suspend a member in case of misconduct. In case of disorder or unruly behavior by a group of members, he can adjourn the House. So, Speaker maintains order and polite behavior throughout the meeting in the House. He can suspend a member if he does not behave properly. In case of unruly or inappropriate behavior by a group of members or by a particular member, if a particular member does an inappropriate behavior, he can be suspended from the meeting of the House. But if a group of members does the same, the House can be adjourned. That means the meeting can be stopped for that particular day. If words used by a member are obscene or indecent or unparliamentary, the Speaker may order that such words may be expunged from the proceedings of the House. If words used by a members are disgusting, indecent or unparliamentary, the Speaker may order to that particular person to remove such words from the proceeding of the House. He has a final say regarding a case or a matter relating to the breach of privilege or contempt of the House. If a member of the House is misusing his power to do a particular work, then the Speaker of the House has a final say that, the member will continue to be a member of the Lok Sabha or not. The decision of the Speaker is final with regard to the question whether a member stands disqualified under anti-defection law or not. Anti-defection law means that whenever a person is disobeying or changing his group for his own personal benefits, then a person is disqualified under anti-defection law. And the Speaker has the final say that whether a member will be continuing to serve the Lok Sabha or not. Parliamentary committees. He appoints various parliamentary committees and guides them in their work. He appoints chairmen of all the committees of the House. He guides and issues direction to the chairmen of different parliamentary committees in all matters relating to their works and procedure. He is the ex-officio chairman of some of the committees of the House, that is Rule Committee and Business and Advisory Committee. So the Speaker appoints various parliamentary committees and guides them in their work. He also appoints the head of all those committees, who are known as the chairman of the committee. He guides them in their work and see what all things they need. He guides in the chairman in respective directions. Also, he is the ex-officio chairman of some of the committees which he appoints. Example, Rule Committee and Business and Advisory Committee. Miscellaneous powers and function. Other than powers such as administrative powers, disciplinary powers, parliamentary committees power, the Speaker is given with some others power which he can use. So he presides over joint sitting of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So Speaker is a person who is to be a charge in discussion when both the houses meets together. When both of the houses has a joint sitting, when there is a deadlock between a bill. When there is a deadlock between the two houses for a bill. So at that time, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha presides the joint meeting of the House. He nominates members for parliamentary delegations to various countries in consultation with the chairman of the upper house. He presides over the conferences of presiding officers of legislative bodies of India. The Speaker represents the House, and because the House represents the nation in a particular way, the Speaker becomes the symbol of nation's freedom and liberty. By Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So, miscellaneous powers and function of the Speaker includes that he nominates various members who represents our country in various parliamentary delegations in different countries, and he nominates such member in consultation with the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He presides over the different meetings with the presiding officers of the lawmaking body of India. So, by this, I conclude this video. Let's wait for the part 3. Thank you and stay tuned for part 3.